Good afternoon and welcome back to Trial Watch with Demetra. I am Demetra Lit All Day, otherwise known as the Honorable Judge D. Lit. And this is another episode of Trial Watch, the Ponzi Scheme Wipe Trial, which yesterday came to, well, I guess I would say quasi conclusion. They still have to do the sentencing phase. However, they did reach a verdict. Yes, let me say hello first. Hey, Living, she's not back yet. Hey, Tanya, it's just me and you. Child came on late, so they will have to find their way over here. My bad. If you're new to this channel, don't fret. You're in the right place at the right time. This channel is a new trial watching channel. It's upcoming and growing, and I anticipate an excellent 2025 and look forward to all the trials and discussions we will have on this channel. So welcome. If you haven't yet subscribed, what you waiting on? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. No, not the like, the bell and get the notification. So we have been covering the state of West Virginia versus Natalie Cochran in what's been dubbed the Ponzi wife poison trial. Hey, Candy Cane, welcome back to the box. This trial was full of money, marriage, secrets, and unfortunately, murder of the husband, Michael Cochran, 38 years old, died in the state of West Virginia, alleged successfully that it was his wife, Natalie Cochran, of over 18 years. They shared 2 children, who fatally injected him with insulin that caused his collapse and then eventually, quite quickly, his death. The motive that the state set out was that she unalived him for fear of him finding out about her Ponzi scheme and turning her in. Yesterday, we watched Natalie Cochran receive her verdict of guilty of murder in the first degree. They have not yet done her sentencing phase. And today we will be watching what they call there. I've never heard it called this, but in West Virginia, they have this portion called the mercy phase hearing, a mercy hearing. Hey, Winter, welcome back. Oh, I already knew, and I wanted to see too on the other side. But we here, we good, we good. Hey, Sean P, welcome back to the box. Where you was still, but don't tell me. I didn't see nowhere to be nose at. Let me look. But girl, I had to come on here and do this. Now I know I pushed it back because we had a lot of things to be nosy on the other side about. But baby, we here. We got to see this mercy hearing. And I do believe this is a phase, hearing where people get to come and speak towards Natalie's character. Welcome back to the box, BA Sage. Good to see you this afternoon. Glad you can join. Now, if she does not get, if she's not successful in this hearing, then it's quite likely she can be sentenced to to prison life without parole. So this is an attempt to get her some mercy and sentence her with an option of parole. Now, just before, hey, Kurt Vixen, welcome back to the box. I just want to give y'all a little insight into tonight night court for the Burn Pile, best of Burn Pile. I have it keyed up already. It's going to be really good tonight. Amanda's going to testify, and another one of her Melody Farris's ex-lovers. So make sure you tune in tonight. I will be on time. I can assure you guys that unless something happened to me physically, which we're going to pray nothing happen. Okay. But until then, y'all hit the like and let's jump off into this mercy hearing, which I did not know it would be so long. I was kind of surprised. I've been checking in that it would be so long. Okay. So I have it ready here. Let me unmute it. I hope you guys are all had a great day so far. It's halfway through. Let me see. I don't know why I got Yes, Kurt Vixen. I actually have been watching that trial. I've been watching that trial on my downtime, quite honestly. And I was like, today is just day 2, I believe. I definitely it's on my roster to show that to you guys. It seems quite interesting. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I will share that trial on the community wall after this live. You know, I'm waiting on it's supposed to be Monday. It's supposed to be starting the state of Florida versus Tyshell Martin regarding that 9-year-old little girl who was killed by way of long-term abuse, and it was exasperated by the stepmom sticking a 100-pound Rottweiler on her, the little black girl out of Florida. So that's why I'm keeping my trial calendar clear, because that's supposed to be starting on Monday. If it wasn't for that trial coming up Monday, we will be covering that trial. But it'll hold. Okay, so let's get into this hearing. This is the mercy phase.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
You look handsome in that blue.
And
hey,
all of the
back.
spectators. Now, as the judge has told you, we are now entering the penalty phase where you, the jury, and only you, will decide the penalty for Natalie Cochran. As the judge has told you, she's now been convicted of first-degree murder of her husband, Michael. And you, the jury, have to decide if she spends the rest of her life in prison, which would be no mercy, or if she becomes eligible for parole after 15 years, which means you grant her mercy. We'll be calling a number of witnesses that will testify to Natalie Cochran's character, things she has done prior to her conviction, things she has done that indicate her character and her ability to be rehabilitated while in prison. The sum total of why Natalie Cochran, we hope and implore you to grant her mercy. I hope you listen carefully to what they have to say without prejudging them. And again, we beg you to give mercy to Natalie Cochran. Thank you.
Mr. Truman.
Thank you. Good morning. This will be a lot less information than you had to absorb over the last 2 weeks, and you're thinking, thank goodness. Well, we couldn't have made up a stranger procedure than this, but this is the procedure. The defense is right. You won't get any guidance. You won't get any instructions other than what Judge Kirkpatrick just went over with you. There's really no criteria. You are totally in charge, completely in charge. It's whatever you feel is appropriate. And for that, the state will be putting on some evidence also of what we think accurately portrays the defendant's character. And at the end of it, you'll go back in your jury room and you'll decide, is this defendant worthy of parole at some point or not? And that's it. That's your sole job remaining in this case. So we'll see how the evidence unfolds, and we'll see what you think when you come back out of your jury room with a decision. Thank you.
So that makes me wonder, is the okay, right, with them stating, both sides, that the only thing the jurors have to decide at this time is, will she be getting an opportunity for parole or not getting an opportunity for parole? Does that mean that it's a definite that she's going to be sentenced to life? I'm wondering about that. Or is it a matter where she can get 45 years to life, 30 years to life? Or is it just life with parole or without parole? It's kind of sounding like it's a definite sentence of life. And they're trying to figure out the parole part. What you guys think? Do it sound that way to you?
Right now,
that way.
Mr. Selden, please call your first witness.
Your Honor, we would like to call Penny Carrico Lowry to the stand.
Very well.
This the system. It sound that way. It sound that way to me too.
If you'll raise your right hand, please.
Yes, sir,
Do
sister.
you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You may have a seat right there.
You okay?
Yes, I'll be fine.
Okay. I know these proceedings they're hard on everyone. Please tell us your name and the correct spelling of it.
Penny Lowry, Penny Lowry.
Do you know Natalie Cochran?
Yes,
Do you have any relationship, family relationship to her?
yes, she's my baby sister.
So you've known Natalie virtually all of her life.
Yes,
I would like you to tell this jury any aspects of Natalie's character, her good works, her actions towards others in the community. I'm leaving it pretty open for you to convince this jury as to why they should grant your little sister mercy. And feel free to go into any details that you think they might like to hear. Okay?
I was thinking about this last night. I know that you don't see her like I see her. And I was 12 years old when she was born, so she was like my little baby doll. And I just remember her, just things about her, like she would come to my room and sleep with me.
Okay.
She was afraid of the dark. And
Go slowly.
okay, I'm sorry.
I know you want to get it all out,
Yes,
but I want to make sure the jury hears everything. So slowly, please.
So when I see her, I see that little girl that came to my room every night and was afraid of the dark to sleep with me. And I see the little girl that I drove to and from school every day. And then on Saturdays, I would want to watch what I wanted to watch. And she always wanted to watch My Little Pony. And we would do that together. I watched her grow up, and she was a beautiful, smart woman. And I was there. We helped plan her wedding. I was with her when she had her kids.
Okay. Again,
I'm sorry.
I know. I'm having a little trouble
Okay.
hearing and following you. I know you're extremely emotional. We understand that.
Yes.
Just a little slower, please. Thank you.
Are you all understanding me?
Okay.
So I watched her become this woman and have her kids. And I love her and I love Michael. And I remember one time, I was thinking last night that I asked them to babysit for me when my daughter was a little baby, and they were so excited. They weren't married yet, and they came over and kept her. And I was gone for a few hours, and she was awful. And I came home, and Michael said, "We are never having kids." But then they had those beautiful 2 kids, and I just love them so much. And Natalie, I know all 40 plus years of her. You've seen her just this short amount of time. She is good. She's done so many great, so helpful, and she would help people. She wrote a devotion book. We grew up in church, and she knows what right from wrong. And we've been taught to be forgiving. And I look at my family, and I'm just begging for mercy for those kids and for my mom and dad. Giving her mercy does not mean she'll get out of prison. It means there's hope for a parole. She's been in prison already. She's missed every milestone at their graduation and Nikki's prom. She'll miss weddings and probably when they have their babies. I don't think my mom and dad will be alive when she gets out. I just pray that you give some hope. Hope is a powerful thing. There's a statement that says, "Life without hope is ceasing to live." And I think those kids need some hope to see their mom as she gets older. They've hurt the most. We've all hurt, but they've been hurting the most. They need her. This is the only family they've known. They've been raised by their grandparents. They're 77. I just begging you to please consider giving her some mercy. It doesn't mean she'll be paroled, but give her that chance to be reformed and to do better. We love her. We just plead with you to do that for her.
You've talked briefly about Natalie's character prior to this conviction. What kind of person was she? And can you talk about any contributions to the community, anything like that?
Of course, they always gave back. She worked in the Church of Juanas, and she did all the Little League sports. Anything that her kids needed, she was there. We would always go shopping every year to Pigeon Forge at Thanksgiving when the men would go hunting, and she always made sure her kids had what they needed before she'd buy herself. She never bought herself anything. She served on committees in our community. She served with all the sports. And
What kind of committees?
which is like team mom, and then served as officers on these sports teams like football and baseball, and she did a lot of things like that. She would do Bible school for the kids, and that was her priority, her family, and they did everything together.
She's been in federal prison for a couple of years now. Do you know anything about her activities while she's been in prison?
I do. I know that she teaches classes, and I know that she's helped. I don't know all the details, but she's helped with like helping people get their GEDs. She does devotion. She wrote a devotion book in prison, and she's a friend to a lot of those people.
I don't have any more specific questions. Is there anything else you would like the jury to hear?
Just asking them to please consider this for those kids, especially for our family, and what you see there's our family, and we need this, please. We need some hope.
Okay, thank you.
Cross-examination.
Thank you. Ms. Lowry, the defendant
didn't think
grew
they were
up
gonna do
to
a
be a little
cross.
bit different than she was when she was your little sister, 12 years younger than you. turned out a little bit different than what it looked like at the time, didn't it?
I mean, I don't know what that means, different. I know you found her guilty of this, but she was still my sister. I mean, I always
Yeah.
trusted and loved her.
Absolutely. And blood is very thick. You're loyal to your sister. Fair enough?
Yes,
You're also an educator by training, correct?
yes,
Do you think there should be consequences for misbehavior?
yes,
And it should be proportional to what the misbehavior was, correct?
yes.
Okay.
And I also believe that fair is not equal and equal is not fair. I just think a lot of things have to be considered. I know that there's been mercy given to people that did a lot worse.
Okay, we'll just accept that. The last time you testified in this
Welcome
case,
back to the box.
you didn't
Pretty Girl
recall how
Aesthetics.
much
Good to
you
see
lost
you.
in your investments with the defendant. Did you go back and check?
I did. I said it was around $50,000.
And is that what it was?
I told you I didn't keep accurate records. She would use my credit card, then I'd pay some, then I'd give her more and pay, and I just never really kept. But I was 50,000 in the hole, and everything was said and done.
Where did that money come out of your retirement or something?
No,
Just cash you had?
actually, it was more of my credit cards.
Oh, okay. So when you had to pay your credit card bills, you were paying the principal, or did you pay them off each month, or
It
did you
just
have interest?
depended. It just depended. I tried to do as much as I could. I was a single mom at the time.
Oh, okay. In her federal case, she pled guilty to the wire fraud and money laundering, right?
I don't know what the exact charges were, but she
Okay.
did plead guilty.
Right.
I don't remember. I don't know the exact charges.
Okay. And you'd mentioned her contributing to the community.
Yes,
Were you aware of some scholarships, the Michael Cochran Legacy Scholarships?
yes,
Those scholarships were awarded by the defendant,
yes, I think so.
but they were never funded, were they?
No,
But she did raise some money for the Michael Cochran scholarships, Legacy Scholarship, correct?
I do not know.
Okay. You just know that in her community activities, she awarded them, but those kids never got a dime.
Correct.
Your Honor, I think that's all the state has of this witness. Thank you.
All right. Anything further, Mr. Selden?
Not another scam in honor of Michael. Wow. Good afternoon, Betty Boop Girl. Good to see you back in the box. Yeah, she got found guilty in the murder in the first degree. This is the sentencing phase. They begging for her to have some mercy.
Is it
Apparently,
okay if I call you Penny?
she gets
Yes.
life automatically. So this
The
will decide
prosecutor asked
with
you
parole
about
or without.
money for scholarship fund, et
Yes.
cetera.
Yes,
Were you aware that the government seized all of the assets of Natalie? And among those seized assets were any monies, et cetera, that might have been paid to these scholarship funds?
I don't know what the money was for, but I do know that the government seized a lot of her money, all of her funds.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further, Mr. Truman?
One follow. Those scholarships were awarded in May of 2019, correct?
I don't recall I guess that was the date. I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. But the search warrant wasn't until the following month, and she wasn't.
Betty Boop,
Correct.
thank you for the
So,
love on the
September.
super sticker. Thank you
I
so
don't
much.
recall the dates, but I know that it was in the summer.
Is Penny? Is Rachel your daughter?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all the state has, Your Honor. Thanks.
Anything, Mr. Selden?
Yes. Now, I just want a complete understanding of these scholarships. They were awarded in the summer to the students. Is that right?
They were awarded, I think, at the end of the school year.
Okay. And the monies to be paid for these scholarships was for the following school year, isn't that right?
Yes.
And all of this investigation into the Ponzi scheme and the seizing of her money, all that occurred before the school year started, isn't that correct?
Yes.
No other questions?
Anything, Mr. Truman?
Nothing from the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lowry. You may step down. You are excused.
Thank you.
Call your next witness, Mr. Selden.
Your Honor, we would like to call Lacey Treadway as our next witness.
So Pretty Glow Aesthetics says she needs to ask God for forgiveness, but she still thinks that she should do some time and get out. And for the record here, Kurt Dixon said yes, it's in this mercy trial. Wait a minute. It's a whole trial for mercy, and they don't
Ms.
come.
Treadway is here, so we will call Sharon England.
Charlie talking
Right.
all over me. And if they don't come back, the jury doesn't come back with a unanimous verdict or vote, I guess, a new mercy trial would have to happen. Golly, that's
If you
different.
could, Mr. Selden, speak up. The jury's having some difficulty hearing you.
No problem, Your Honor. I
He
usually
got
have the
11
opposite
years
problem.
on the
Thank you.
financial.
If you'll raise your right hand, ma'am.
Um,
Do you swear
conviction
or affirm to
in the
tell
federal
truth,
prison.
The whole truth, and nothing but the truth,
Now, who
so
is
help
this?
you
Her
God?
mama?
You may have a
She
seat
look just
right
like that
there.
lady from the Forgotten Baby in the court trial.
Would you please state your full name and how you spell it?
Sharon England, SharonEngland.
Are you any relation to Natalie Cochran, or how do you know her?
She is my niece.
And as you've heard, we're here and you're here to tell this jury why you think Natalie should get mercy and give this jury a better understanding of what type of person Natalie is. Okay?
Okay.
To that end, would you speak on behalf of Natalie and tell this jury what type of person you think she is?
Okay. Well, first of all,
And if you would, please speak into the microphone.
okay. First of all, because I've known Natalie all of her life, we've been in close contact ever since she was born. Natalie's always been the most compassionate, kind, caring person throughout her life, always putting others before herself. She is a loving mother and is selfless when it comes to the needs of her children. After Natalie's heart became worse and more difficult, to where at times she couldn't drive, and her parents were trying to help, and they would have appointments, and my husband and I would drive the children to school in Greenbrier County. And on those trips, just being alone, usually when we were together, it was at big family gatherings, but just having the kids in the car, we became very close with the kids. And since the death of their dad, they became extra close to their mother, and she was just always there for them.
Now, ma'am, I want to interrupt you for just a moment. You're referring to some notes. Did anyone other than you prepare them?
Oh, no, I prepared it.
Okay, and can it be assumed you jot some notes down to refresh your recollection?
Yes, definitely.
And you mentioned Natalie's heart problems.
Yes,
Were you aware that Natalie had not one, but 2 surgeries on her heart,
yes,
and that she currently has an implant in her chest to help with her heartbeat?
yes.
Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Please go on.
That's okay. I just, since the kids have become so attached to their mom, I'm just asking that
Okay, John.
you would have mercy on her, that they might have some hope that at some point in time, when she does get out of prison, they would be able to spend some time with her. That would mean a lot to them. And I want to also emphasize that Natalie has always been faithful to volunteer her services and to help others. And I have a list here of things that I'm aware of personally that she has done. As a youth, she donated her money to buy Christmas presents for the needy. She would come to my elderly aunt's home and other elderly people to give them flu shots and to help with other necessary needs. She volunteered to conduct poison prevention demonstrations at local schools, conducted free health eating course for seniors. She conducted flu shots and clinics at the churches and at Sewing for Souls. She conducted health seminars at the Lions Club, she was a coordinator of juvenile diabetes awareness walks and education classes, organizes medicine planners for their elderly neighbors. She volunteered at Sewing for Souls and at her church with the Bible printing ministry.
Not boo.
She taught cubbies and awanas at her church for 5 years and played the piano for 4 years at her local church. She even volunteered at Daniels Elementary when they lost their music teacher because of lack of funding, and she filled in free of charge. She volunteered at Habitat for Humanity as well as Homes for Seniors. And while in prison, she organized and helped with Bible studies, beginners, intermediate, and advanced Bible studies. She wrote 2 devotion books. I know one has been published. I think they both have. And they're using those in the prisons now. And even at Southern Regional Jail, they have some, but also in Kentucky and Tennessee, the prison ministries there are using the devotion and study books that she wrote for the women prisoners. I hope that you will consider Natalie's history of being generous, caring, and giving person, and consider giving her mercy on her sentence. And I hope that you'll pray about it and ask God for wisdom and understanding to do the right thing. I know in Matthew chapter 5, verse 7, it says, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy." And that was said by Jesus. I interpret that to mean that if we're merciful to other people, he will show us mercy. And so I'm asking that you will show grace and mercy to Natalie, just as our Savior Jesus Christ has shown grace and mercy to each of us. We don't deserve it. She might not either, but he gives it to us. It's free. And I'm asking that you would do that for Natalie, not so much for her sake, but for the sake of her children, her parents, and the family. And as you make your decision whether or not to show mercy or no mercy, I know you know your actions will be judged by Natalie's family and loved ones, by Michael's family and loved ones, by the prosecution, by the defense, but none of that matters. That doesn't matter diddly squat. What really matters is that you will be judged by a powerful Almighty God. And in his word, he said, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy." So I'm asking for you to please give her mercy on this conviction so that someday her children will be able to be in her presence.
Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Well said. Who said no pass the collection plate by them?
You can, but it's old notes and I revamped them. So I've got little notes on there. Some things I didn't say.
That's just something that we have to do.
Not they would be judged by her family, child. Y'all gonna get it.
Now, you describe Natalie as being a compassionate.
Guilty by association. Y'all
sharing
booing
person,
ain't
is
this
that right?
sharing?
It is. I've never seen her any other way.
Tough jury today.
So where do you think it all went wrong?
Well, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but she loved Michael with all of her heart. When he asked her to quit being a pharmacist because he was jealous of her coworker, he asked her to also be the woman because they were giving the contracts to women to start that business. And I believe she would have done whatever he said. And I believe she made some unwise, bad decisions.
I believe that too. You were talking about
Now
the
that was
Bible and the
interesting.
teachings of Jesus. Are
Uh-oh.
you familiar with the 10 Commandments?
Yes,
Uh-oh.
I am.
A Bible war.
So you know one of those is thou shalt not kill.
I do.
Do you believe that we're judged by that as well?
Yes, I do. I also believe God will forgive those. And he's asking us to forgive if we want to be forgiven.
I know you talked about her volunteering her time and money and services, especially with things like youth sports too, right?
I wasn't as aware of the youth sports thing. I was more aware of the community things.
That's fair. I don't think I have any more questions for you. Thank you, ma'am.
Anything further, Mr. Selden? No, Your Honor. Thank you, Ms. England. You may step down. You are
Thank you.
excused. Call your next witness, please, Mr. Selden.
Your Honor,
Yeah, she big
I would like to
blame.
call Rachel Carrico to the stand.
I want to change my verdict. I find her innocent now, not guilty. Okay. At this moment in time, well, I still think she's guilty of manslaughter. Now, who is this? I've been wondering the whole
You'll
trial.
raise your right hand,
Let me
please. Do you
see.
swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You may have a seat.
Good morning, Ms. Carrico.
Good morning.
You appear very emotional. Are you okay? Can you testify?
Yes.
Okay. And if you would, please talk into the microphone
Okay.
so the jury can hear you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Renee. I got you.
Please tell us your full name and spell it, please.
Yep. My name is Rachel Carrico, Rachel Carrico.
Thank you. How do you know Natalie Cochran?
Natalie is my aunt, but I would describe her as more than that. Like my mom was up here saying, she's been a very close and influential person in my life. I would consider her more of a mom than an aunt to me.
Okay, I just want to
Okay.
clarify. You said when your mom was up here testifying, your mother is Penny Carrico Lowry. Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay, please go
Yes.
on.
Her kids they're my cousins, but we've always been like brother and sister. I'm an only child, so having them with me growing up has been a blessing to me, especially within the past 5 years. I think we've grown very close together because we've needed each other. But I would always be with them growing up. Natalie would always include me in anything that they were doing, big or small, whether it was going on a day trip or just going out to eat. They always invited me, and I've just been a member of their family.
Why do you think this jury should grant Natalie mercy? And you know what that means from the discussions, correct?
Yes.
So why should they give her mercy?
I don't think anyone truly knows Natalie like we do. My family does. like I said, she's been a mom to me, and she didn't have to do that. Just even last Wednesday, I had to put my dog down after court. And on Thursday, that's when my two cousins had testified. And Natalie called me after from Southern Regional, and it wasn't to talk about court, it was to check on me because I had lost my pet. And she's always been that way with me. She has included me like one of her kids. And when my mom was in the hospital, on my 17th birthday, Natalie bought me a cake, my favorite cake, and took me out to eat so I wouldn't have such a crappy birthday. She took me to Disney World. She taught me how to ski. She bought me my first Starbucks drink. She's had such an influence on my life, and looking back and even looking at now, I'm very thankful for the influence she has had on me, and it has been nothing but good. She has shown me how to love and be strong, and I love her kids tremendously. I will always be there, and it's because of her and her demonstrating that love. I know that there's been things said, but no one truly knows her like we do. And I just beg for mercy because we need it. We need her back. I can't fathom her not being around to not even see me get married or have kids, but much less her own kids. Just, we need hope.
I don't have any more questions. Thank you. Oh, I do have one question. You talked about your 17th birthday. How old are you now?
I'm 26.
Okay, thank you.
Cross-examination.
Welcome back, sweet merciful J. Yes, ma'am. They found her guilty on yesterday, guilty of murder in the first degree. So she has been sentenced to life. This is the what they call a mercy hearing, otherwise known, kind of more commonly known, recognizable by the penalty phase. So apparently she got life, and this trial, the mercy trial, is to see will she have life with a possibility for parole or without a possibility for parole. So that's what they doing, pleading. Baby, they being tough on this family. I love my dog, Miss Lily. Oh, that's a cute name, Miss Lily. But come on now. What about her putting her husband down? Right. Ain't nobody called you Apollo. He can't run it like his name, Miss Millie. Miss Lily. Girl, named your dog Miss Millie.
Ms. Carrico, what do you do for a living?
I'm an occupational therapist,
So where did you go to school?
West Virginia University
When did you graduate?
College.
Yeah.
May of 2022.
Okay. And you were one of the recipients of the Michael Cochran Legacy Scholarship, were you not?
Yes.
Did you ever get any of that money?
No.
You mentioned that the defendant was so influential on you. Can you be a little more specific other than this generalize she's a loving person? How else did she influence you?
To be smart and to strive for, what I wanted, and encouraged me when I was in college, and just made sure that I knew like how proud she was and how good I was doing. And I mean, like, she's influenced what clothes I wear. I like to wear the same type of clothing that she did. And like I said, with coffee, I mean, it's little small things that have had a big impact, but also, you know, just the characteristics of her.
Not to revisit this day, but anybody that experienced putting a pet down knows how awful that is. And you got pretty emotional kind of recapturing that terrible day.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what it's like to be a mom and lose your son?
Wow.
As understatements go,
Wow.
being hard would probably work, but it would be a lot more than just being hard, wouldn't it?
Sorry, I can barely hear the prosecutor.
Put your hearing
I would
aid
like
in,
to-
mister.
like-
Yes, sir. It would be more than hard to lose a son, correct?
I would say so.
You also mentioned that the defendant influenced you in terms of accomplishments, and you are clearly accomplished, so you can give her some credit for that. She too was accomplished. It's hard to get into pharmacy school, isn't it?
Yeah.
So she was well equipped to deal with life in terms of finances just by not only getting in, but graduating and getting a job as a pharmacist. Isn't that true?
I would, you know, I know I'm not good with finances personally. I think you're good at what you specialize in. And so financially, I don't know.
Okay. In her influencing you, she didn't give you tips on how to run a Ponzi scheme or anything, did she?
No.
Okay. That's all the questions the state has. Thank you.
Anything further, Mr. Selden?
Yes, Your Honor, just a moment.
That was cold-blooded there, that cross.
Is it okay for me to call you Rachel?
Yes.
Now, Rachel, the prosecutor asked you questions about not getting money for your scholarship fund.
Yes.
And that money was promised to you in the following school year.
Yes, it was
But-
going to be for my first fall semester of OT school.
And before that happened, you're aware that Natalie Cochran and Michael Cochran's assets were all seized. There wouldn't be any money for your scholarship fund, correct?
Yes.
There were questions about your scholarship fund, but did Natalie Cochran give you any other financial help, either in school or otherwise over the years?
I don't know so much about school. My mom took care of most of that for me.
Right?
But they would always, she would buy me clothes, or she would pay for my meal if we were out eating, or to get my nails done if I was with them.
She helped you all along
Yeah.
with finances when you needed it. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes.
The prosecutor asked some questions about Natalie being equipped for life, etc. Did Natalie help you to become equipped for life and all of its bumps and challenges?
Yes.
And how did she do that?
Through natural life lessons, whether it was a breakup with a boyfriend in high school, she was there to console me and to tell me that things would be better, and you know, it was okay to cry, but I would be stronger.
Hey, lady stuff, welcome back.
Whether it was helping to motivate me when it came time, like my senior year of high school or starting college, and she gave me the talk of, what alcohol and drugs would be. And she would always be there to call if I ever needed help. And I didn't feel comfortable telling my own mom that she was there and she would do what she could to help me or protect me. I never doubted her love for me. I still don't. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. I mean, that's sufficient. Now, did there come a time when Natalie Cochran had to have heart surgeries?
Yes.
Did you care for her in any way or at any time as a result of those surgeries?
Yes. Like I said, I was in college in Morgantown, and she had to have a heart surgery. It was like an outpatient surgery. It wasn't something huge, but I took her up to Morgantown and we stayed at my apartment and I took her to that surgery. And I waited for what felt like forever. And the nurse had actually called me and said, "Hey, this is the number that was on file, but Natalie's asking for a Michael. Do you know a Michael?" I was like, "I do, but he's not here. Like, I would be there to get her." And I went and consoled her.
Let me clear something up here.
Mhm.
You're talking about Michael Cochran, right?
Yes.
And Michael was still alive at that time, correct?
No.
No, he'd already passed.
But she was under like an anesthetic. And
Okay.
so-
No further questions. Thank you.
Cross-examination, Mr. Truman.
State has no additional questions, Ms. Carrico. Thank
Very
you.
well. Thank you very much. You may step down. Call your next witness, Mr. Selden.
The defense would like to call Larry Jessup.
Okay, so don't mind me, you guys, as I kind of see about this background. I'm trying to see for the next trial, how I'll be able to put stuff on the background, like information,
You'll raise your
like
right
kind of like
hand
the legal
again,
pad
sir.
stuff on the
Swear or
side
affirm
where you
to tell the
guys,
truth,
so I
the
can
whole
have it
truth,
to
and
see.
nothing but the
So
truth, so
that's what
help
I'm
you
playing
God.
around with.
I do. You may have a seat.
No, that was her niece. That was her sister. That was her sister.
Would you
Penny's
please
daughter.
tell this court and
What
the
a-
jury your name and how you spell it?
Larry Jessup, LarryJessup.
Mr. Jessup, are you any relation to Natalie Cochran?
Yes, I'm Natalie's daddy.
I am again going to ask you sort of open-ended questions. You're here on Natalie's behalf today, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
And since you're Natalie's father, you know her pretty well. You've been with her all of her life, correct?
Yes, sir.
Would you please tell this jury what kind of person you know Natalie to be and why you think they should grant her mercy?
Well, Natalie was my daughter. Naturally, she grew up in our household. She was always a great youngster. She was always very giving person. She helped us, my wife and I, Daphne, all in her growing up years. She went to high school here in Beckley, and she, in high school, she did a lot of different things extra for her school.
Like what, if you recall?
Well, she's on committees, and she did social service work and that kind of thing.
Okay, please go on.
As far as the timeline in her life, I can kind of go along those kind of lines. My sister Sharon has already mentioned a lot of things that she did, and as she grew up. But she met Michael in high school, and he would come to our house, and so I got to be friends with him. And then they both went to WVU to school, and then they decided to get married in 2019, and then they were married May the 20th of 2020. They didn't have a place to stay, so my wife and I bought him a mobile home, and he didn't have a car to drive, so I gave him a pickup truck that I had. And so they went all the way through college at WVU, and then they went to Tennessee after they got out of school. They moved to Tennessee, and I think he went to work at a company called Nova, and she went to work as a pharmacist.
Okay,
And
please talk into the microphone. You're kind of fading out a little bit.
okay.
Oh boy, he
I tried
interrupted
to do
everybody.
better.
You're doing fine, sir.
So my wife and I, we would go visit them periodically, and Michael and I would go fishing in the mountains at Pigeon Forge. They live right outside
Copyright,
of
I'll be right
Pigeon
back.
Forge.
I'm sorry, sir.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay. And we would visit them there, and our first grandchild was not first grandchild, but the first one from Natalie and Michael was born in Tennessee, and then they moved back to here in 2006, and they bought a home on 4H Lake Road. It was repossessed by the bank, and it was in dire need of repair. So Michael and I worked on the house for about a year, repairing the house. And Michael and I became very, very close. And of course, Natalie, she would come over and help us, and my wife would keep the children. And then they moved, of course, into that house. They stayed with us while we were repairing the house. And then they had a good life there. They did a lot of things together. We did a lot of things with them.
What are some, now, I'm sure the jury wants to hear a lot of this history, but you said they did a lot of things together. Please tell what kinds of things and what Natalie was doing, if you would.
Well, in your everyday life, you see, you just kind of go along. Some things you remember as events in their life. Other things are just every day going along together.
Can you speak to Natalie's personality, her character, things like that?
Well, just like she had always been, she was a very caring person. She took care of her family. She took care of us a lot of times. If we needed something, she would help us. But as far as her family, she always put her family first in everything.
How old are you, sir?
77.
Has Natalie taken care of you for any physical ailments or anything like that?
She would always take care of, me getting shots and that kind of thing. I had a massive heart attack in 2014, and she was always coming over, checking on me, blood pressure, my heart rate, and those kind of things. And then in January of 2015, I had a defibrillator and a pacemaker put in, and she was always trying to monitor those for me. Yes, sir.
I need just a moment, Your Honor.
Very well.
Not your A-grade bullies.
Mr. Jessup, as we get older, we kind of get some dates mixed up. Wasn't it true that Natalie and Michael got married in the year 2000, not 2019 or 2020?
Oh, I'm sorry, 2000. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble with my memory as I get older. Would you classify Natalie as a good daughter?
Certainly. Excellent daughter.
How would you classify her as a wife and mother?
Again, excellent. She took care of Michael and the kids, did every, just as a, almost as a servant to him. Yes, sir.
You've talked about how close you were to Michael, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And Natalie.
Yes, both. Mike and I developed a really just a minute. I'll be all right.
Okay.
A real,
You're obviously very emotional.
Yeah.
Just take a moment, okay?
a real close relationship over
Aw.
the years. We hunted and fished together, went on vacations together. He took me deep sea fishing. He became just like a son to me. It was a very good relationship. We did a lot of things together and also with my grandson Ashton, his son, and then that went on for years. And then 2000, we had a lease in Greenbrier County, and we built a shelter up there. And he could do a lot of the work that I couldn't do. Of course, I was a little bit more able to do things then. It was about 10. I guess,
Okay.
10.
Let me just interrupt you for just a moment.
Oh my God, he get
It's
on my
obvious.
nerves.
You had a very good relationship with Michael.
Yes.
You had a very good relationship with your daughter.
Yes, sir.
This jury has already found Natalie Cochran guilty of killing her husband, Michael.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I understand.
Do you think she should be punished for that act by spending the rest of her life in prison?
Well, I would hope that the jury would see fit to grant her mercy. I know they made their decision. Certainly, I don't agree with it. I felt like that there was a lot of variables there and a lot of unanswered questions. So I would plead with the jury, have compassion, and to give her mercy. So, I mean, I'll never be able to touch her again. All the time I'll be able to see her be behind the glass wall. But, her kids, if she spends 15 years, they would be 35 and 33, I guess. So they would be able to have.
Yeah, take a moment, sir.
Yeah, okay. Some more time with her kids. But as far as I'm concerned, of course, she's my daughter. I thought she was the best kid we could ever have. We had 4 kids, and all of them were great. And
And I just, you're 77 now, right?
yes,
So when Natalie is possibly up for parole if the jury gives her mercy,
Yes.
if my math is correct, you're going to be 92 years old. Is that right?
Yes, sir. I don't figure I'll ever make it to 92 with my heart, but I would be 92. Mhm.
So you may or may not be alive after that 15 years. Is that
That's
right?
correct. Yes.
Would you like the possibility of spending time with Natalie, not behind the glass or in prison, but in person? And hopefully you'll live that long and the jury would grant you mercy. Is that a hope of yours?
Certainly. Mhm.
I don't think I have any more questions. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Mr. Jessup, I just want to ask you one thing, and then I'll let you go, okay?
Okay.
Now, we've heard a lot of talk already this morning from other witnesses and from you about wanting to reunite Natalie with her kids so that they have their mom.
Yes.
How does it make you feel to know that they will never be reunited with their father?
Makes me extremely sad.
Thank you, sir. That's it. I have no further questions.
Anything further, Mr. Selden?
Yeah.
No, sir, just hold on.
No other questions for this witness. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jessup. You may step down. You are excused.
Oh,
Mr.
your next
Jessup still
witness,
moved real
Mr.
fast for
Selden.
77.
Your Honor, this time we would like to call Daphne Jessup to the stand.
Oh, her mama, they long living out there. Lord, what Daphne got in her hand?
You'll raise your right hand, please, ma'am. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may have a seat.
Are you okay?
I'll be fine.
All right. Would you please tell this court and the jury your full name and spell it?
Daphne Jessup, D-A-D-A-P-H-N-E,
And talk into the microphone.
Jessup.
Are you any relation to Natalie Cochran?
Yes, sir, I'm her mother.
And you're appearing here on her behalf, is that right?
Absolutely.
Would you please tell this jury what kind of a person Natalie is and was to you, and why they should consider granting her mercy?
My husband and I didn't talk about what we were saying, but I did a little timeline. I thought that would help me stay focused today. But she was born to us late in life. And all the siblings were growing up and going, and she was still home with us. So there was the three of us, all through childhood.
Ma'am, if you would,
No,
slowly. So I want the jury to hear everything you have to say. Thank you.
all through childhood, she did terrific in school. There was never a problem. And I don't want to be funny, but the only problem I had with her in second grade, over half of her classroom got lice, and she was one of them. And so with her curly, tight hair, I had a hard time with her. That's the only thing. She was a wonderful child. She was active in cheerleading, music. Oh, she's talented. She can sing. She can play the piano. It embarrasses her too, and she gets nervous, so she seldom does it. But I think she'd probably go to Nashville. She'd sing at church and things. But always a joy. And like others said, her aunt would give all the kids a good bit of money at Christmas. She always took half of hers and gave it to others. And that's in childhood. And then in high school, it was the same way. She didn't date very much. She worked. She didn't have to work. but she wanted to work, and she worked at a sporting goods store. And that's where she met Michael. And they were 18 when he came to our house, and he became like a son to us. I made notes. I don't want to forget anything, but
Yes, ma'am. And I just want to clarify those notes.
yes, sir.
Those are your notes
Yes, sir.
to refresh your memory.
Yes, sir. 'Cause-
Nobody else made them. Nobody else told you
Okay,
to
BA,
write them
we'll hold
down.
your
Is that
seat.
right?
No, sir.
Okay, go ahead, please.
So they dated, and then the summer after the 12th grade, I think it was, they graduated. Larry and I drove Michael other places to play summer baseball. He loved baseball. We stayed together in motels, Larry and Ashton, Michael, and then.
Okay, so that was a really good statement you made, Lady Steph, and that's why I paused it, because you said if I was a juror and I voted guilty of murder, being strong in my conviction, I don't think I would even consider the testimony of a parent. Of course, they are biased. Now, this is a kind of like a trick question, a little bit, not a trick question, but just to probe a little bit. But wouldn't that in turn make it like, if you're not going to consider the testimony, wouldn't that make you already biased in what you're going to do? If you understand that question and what I'm asking you, I get what you're saying. I'm just wondering. I want to probe a little bit. Kurt Vixen says, I feel bad for our parents. I know they probably wonder whether they go wrong. Oh, you know they wonder that, right? Betty Boop says, Demetra, that's me. If I didn't believe she did, then no problem. But if I believe she did it, I don't know, I could be cool. And that goes to the question when you said earlier, Betty Boop, I don't think I'll be cool with my mom if she unalived my dad. And then I said, well, what if you didn't believe that she was guilty, your mom, in that example? Okay, that's fair. And I think my feelings and sentiment matches up to yours, Betty Boop. You know, it's like moments like this, I'm very, very grateful to never have to be in this situation, never have been, don't want to be. This has got to be tough for everybody. Because for every good thing they say about her, everything they say let's say it like this, everything they say that she gonna miss out of and not have opportunity for, how can you not help but think about the fact that Michael, the unalived victim in this case, he's never, ever going to have an opportunity to do any of this. It's not even an option of parole, right? It's not like he gets to be dead 15 years and then get paroled from death, you know? So it's a balancing deal, right? So I think it's just a really tough position.
Natalie and myself.
Okay, just a little slower. I know you want to get it all out, and I want to hear it. I know the jury wants to hear it. So just,
She should be somewhere
slow it
cooking
down
cookies.
a little bit. Thank you.
So then college came, and after the first year of college, they were married. When they had the wedding, her professor had a band, a bluegrass band, and he brought his band down and they played Civil War music for the wedding. We had it outdoors, and Michael wasn't real close to his dad at that time, his biological dad. But his dad came with his stepmother, and her name was Dream, I believe. They helped me. We painted, we did yard work, we put down mulch, and they were in his life at that time. After they were married, Dream and Mike gave him a cruise for a wedding present. So we took care of the wedding. His daddy and stepmother took care of their honeymoon. When they came back, we bought him it was a nice trailer, a dentist had it, and we added patio and a porch to it. We made sure they had a car. We helped them to school all we could.
Okay.
Mhm.
Did Natalie and Michael have much money at that time?
No, sir. She worked 3 jobs. At times she was working 3 of them. Michael tried, but Michael had a different temperament, and that's him, and that's fine. And he just couldn't work with public. Sometimes he would work at the school gym and get paid, helping people to exercise. He loved bodybuilding, so that was perfect for him. but she worked at different places to make money, and we tried to help. When they graduated, and before we took them on vacations with us, we did everything we could for the kids. We loved them and we were close. They moved to Tennessee for a little bit, and that's where Nikki was born. And I was there with Michael when a few hours after she was born. I stayed with them to help them. They came to live at our house and wanted to remodel that old house. So the men worked, and we think sometimes Michael was like married to my husband. He loved him so much. They hunted, they fished, they built on the house. Larry taught him electrical work and carpentry, because my husband had to do all that on 2 houses we built. So they worked every time they were able, weekends, holidays, after hours of work. Natalie would work extra shifts. She worked as a pharmacist in Oak Hill at that time, driving to CVS. I would keep the baby when I got home from teaching. And then they moved in their house, and here came Ashton. So now we're a family of 6, the 4 of them and the 2 of us. Again, vacations, holidays, moving in the house. And I retired when Ashton was born so that I could be their babysitter. I just don't want to leave anything out that I wanted to tell you.
Hold just a
Okay.
moment. Okay. If you would, as to Natalie and Michael's son, would you just refer to him as their son and not name him?
Yes, sir.
Because
sir.
he's a minor.
Yes,
Okay?
sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right. Please go ahead.
So we start going to on trips. We eat out. We do a lot of things as a family. And my husband's still working. So at this time, Michael and him take a few holidays. And Michael always, I think we were very close. And the kids said he loved me. I thought he did. I wouldn't know for sure. He never said he loved me. But he'd always say, Daphne, you're going with us. And he was the domineering figure in the family. But Natalie didn't mind. I didn't mind. So I'd go with them while my husband stayed here and worked. I'd go on holidays with them. And I'd offer to stay in the room and take care of the kids at night so they could go to a dinner or something. He'd say, no, you're going with us. I want you to go to the steakhouse. He always took care of me. He'd do anything he could for me, and I'd do anything I could for Michael.
Okay, slow down a little bit.
It broke our heart when he left this world. Our last trip was in the summer before Michael passed away, and we went to Ocracoke Island. The men fished, and we sat outside. We played in the water. They did the boards on the waves. It was a wonderful week. And Michael had a golf cart, and he got me a golf cart, and we'd ride the others around because that was fun for this person. But Michael was sleeping more and more. Even in the car on the ferry, he'd fall asleep. He wasn't staying awake much, and he'd hold his head a lot. He was sick. When we came home, there was foods he liked to eat, and he had asked me to cook, and he'd come after work. He liked breakfast foods in the evening, all breakfast foods at one time. And I'd fix it, and then he'd have to lay on the couch. He thought it was green mold that was making him sick. He was working in the house.
Ma'am, I don't want
Okay.
you to go into the case in chief.
Okay.
I want you to talk about Natalie's character, etc. We're not here to relitigate the case, okay?
Okay. I didn't want to bring the case up. No, sir.
Okay.
But I
thank
was
you.
just telling you, I just wanted everybody to know that Michael and I had a good relationship. The kids did everything they could for me. Natalie helped me with my ministry. So did Michael. I was always all about kids. I love children of all colors, all sizes, and I've helped children and families in 45 countries. Michael helped me furnish, and Natalie, they helped me furnish seed in Zambia for Matambo village.
I'm sorry. Could you clarify that a little bit?
Um,
What are you talking about?
Well, in Matambo village is one of my favorite villages in Africa, and I've been there twice. They plant things like corn, tomatoes, cabbages. The government buys it, and then the government didn't give them money one time, and they couldn't buy seed.
Who is they? Who are you referring
The
to?
Zambians under Pastor Mukatasha lives there. It's a village
Okay,
in Africa.
all right, go ahead.
So we bought sacks of seeds. It was a total of $5,000 for all the seed for the village. And I had every kid there a mattress and a blanket. They were $81 for a mattress and a
Okay,
blanket.
I
when you
cannot.
say we bought
Hold
this,
on,
who
hold
are you
on,
talking?
hold on. I'm not set up to hear about um girl boom. Somehow I can't align the picture of this Civil War themed reception with sound like what they call that. Good for you, right? Yeah, I helped all the poor Negroes, right? Okay. Girl, y'all, I had baby. No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. What they call that when the people go to the what do people call when they go to the other countries, but they go for their church? What is that called? Can't think what it's called. What them people call? Remember The Color Purple? That's where the sister was with them people, and they was doing that over there in Africa.
At this time out of the
Yeah,
presence of the jury.
missionaries. Okay,
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Very well. Bring in the
baby,
jury,
I think
please,
they was
bailiff.
some trap. Let me stop. Yeah, missionaries. Okay, I didn't know this was gonna be so long. Who is this?
Maybe 5. I don't know.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, we would like to call to the stand Angie Martin.
I'm over all her family. She got a hard little
You'll
walk.
raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, sir.
You may have a seat.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay,
Please
Renee.
state your full name and spell it for the record.
It's Angie Martin, Angie Martin.
Do you know Natalie
I'm gonna
Cochran?
fast forward
Yes,
this to the
sir.
kids.
How long have you known her? Approximately.
I don't know,
6
Fanny.
years.
6 years. You've only
Maybe
known her
5.
since she was a criminal.
I'm not. a
If you're
good
going to
math-
speak, please
I'm
speak
not a
up.
good mathematician.
That's
Girl, you
fine.
ain't even known her long enough. You've been knowing her the whole time she's been a criminal. So, with that being said, the people have spoken. We're going to fast forward this, okay, to the children. Here we go. And that reminds me, make sure to tune in tonight for Night Court. We are featuring the best of trial watch of the Burn Powell trial. Tonight it's going to be very good. It's going to be Amanda, the last daughter that we haven't heard from. And it's going to probably just be Amanda tonight with the time frame. But we also have an ex-lover of in that case. So make sure you tune in tonight for that testimony. 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Let's continue here. Baby, this daughter, she seems like she on medication or something, tranquilizer or something.
You'd have a lot of life left, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Oh. That's the son.
His face to be portrayed on camera.
All right, this is her son.
All right.
With the son being a minor, they're
Will
not going to
raise
show
your right
him.
hand, please. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You may have a seat there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How do you know Natalie Cochran? And, well, first of all, Your Honor, instead of this witness going through his full name, I'll just ask him to identify himself by the initials MAC.
All right, that would be appropriate.
Uh, And as you've heard, you're appearing here today on your mother's behalf, Natalie Cochran, to appeal to this jury to find mercy for your mother. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, you're probably one of the two most familiar people with your mother.
Yes, sir.
I'll ask you, would you tell this jury why your mother should be granted mercy despite the fact that she's been convicted by this jury of first-degree murder? Would you please address the jury on that?
My mom has done.
Could you tilt the microphone up a little bit
Yeah.
and speak into it? Thank you.
My mom has been there through everything for me. Every baseball game, football game, school event. She's helped me live my day-to-day life. She still calls me more than once a day, as much as possible. And
I know this is hard for you. Just do the best you can, okay? If you need to take breaks, take breaks. Gather your thoughts, whatever you need.
Look what she put our whole family through. He's an older minor. He's like 17.
after my dad died, we were all very depressed, a very sad family. She would always text me in the middle of the night, asking me if I want my midnight snack or checking up on me, making sure I'm good. She always let me do whatever made me happy. She took us to church.
If you need to use it, the Kleenex box is there. Go ahead. Let me direct questions a little bit. I know it's difficult for you to formulate your thoughts. How do you think your mother is needed in your life from this point on? She's been convicted. Okay. She's going to prison. The question here today is, does she go to prison for the rest of her life, or is she eligible for parole in 15 years for mercy? How do you think you need your mother in your life, or even if you think you need your mother in your life from this point forward?
Okay, let me
I
drop
want my
carefully.
kids to have a grandmother. I want them to know her. I want them to be able to go over to their grandma's house and have Christmas and spend time with her. It's just-
Would you like her to be around and possibly out of prison if you get married or anything like that?
yes.
You were close to your father as well as your mother, right?
Very.
Welcome
And
back to
even
the
though
box,
your mother's
Chitana.
been convicted
Glad to see you.
of your father's death, you had any animosity towards your mother, any desire for her to stay in prison for the rest of her life or anything like that?
Not at all. Not at all. I love both of them to death. And he knows that he was abusing steroids. It's his fault.
Not it's his fault. Wow.
Do anything to save him.
I'm sorry.
Do anything to save him. Both of them.
Who would do anything to save him?
I would.
Okay. Are you 17 years old?
Yes, sir.
And I don't mean to be leading, but if your mother is allowed to attempt to be paroled, it's going to be at least 15 years. So you'd be 32, right?
Yes, sir.
You'd have a lot of life left, right?
Yes, sir.
Would you want your mother to be involved
Welcome back, Connie.
in that life after at least 15 years?
Yes, sir.
What do you think you've learned from your mother in being raised by her and your father? What life lessons or attitudes or things that would help you cope with life have you learned from her? If you can put it into words.
To stay strong through everything, no matter what. And just to be nice. Just to be nice to people. Very kind human being.
You'll have some challenges in life from this point forward. You're only 17. You'll have to face many of life's problems, challenges. Do you think your mother, if she is allowed mercy, would help you through those difficult times?
Of course. Of course.
Would you like to make a plea to this jury on your mother's behalf for mercy? Would you like to address them?
I just hope you all understand that it's not just her life that y'all are picking and choosing to mess with, but it's the kids too and the whole families. And a lot of us really want our mom back. really want her back. And I just beg you, give her mercy. She's a great woman.
Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Few questions. You're in what grade in school?
Senior.
Oh, you're a senior.
Yes, sir.
What's your plans for next year?
Hopefully get a scholarship, play baseball at some college.
Do you know where you're going to go?
Not yet.
Do you have any idea what you want to do when you get there?
Go into some type of business form.
Kind of like your sister, she's in accounting. You want to have something similar or comparable to that?
Something like that, yes.
It's fair to say you've had a really bad last 5 or 6 years, right?
Yes, sir.
And during that time, you've lived with your grandma and grandpa Jessup, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Still do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Even though it's not fun, life has gone on for you. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If I could have just a moment, please.
Very well.
That's all the questions the state has. Thank you.
Anything further, Mr. Selden?
No, Your Honor, not of this witness.
Thank you very much. You may step down. Call your next witness, Mr.
And
Selden.
remember, both the kids testified
Your
that
Honor.
because of the steroid use and stuff like that from her daddy, he was often
At this time, the
agitated,
defense would
you
like
know,
to call
often,
Nicole Cochran.
harsh, you know. So I think that definitely skewed their perception of their
Come
dad.
forward.
Right, Katana. She got found guilty yesterday. So this
Raise
hearing
your
right
right
now
hand, please. Do you
is to,
swear or affirm to tell
is
the truth, the whole truth, and
to
nothing but the truth, so
determine
help you
whether
God?
she is eligible for parole
You may
or
have a seat.
not. I'm starting to think
Would you
that more and
please
more,
state
Connie.
your full name and spell it for the record?
Nicole Cochran, NicoleCochran.
And what relationship, if any, to Natalie Cochran are you?
I'm her daughter.
How old are you?
19.
So along with your brother who just testified, you are probably one of the two most familiar people with your mother's character, temperament, everything as far as her possible qualifications for mercy. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes, sir.
Do you wish your mother to be granted mercy by this jury?
Yes, very, very badly.
I know you're very emotional. I couldn't hear your answer. Take a moment,
Sorry.
please.
Yes, I do.
And I know this is a broad question, but can you tell this jury why you want your mother to receive mercy? And by that, I would like you to talk about how mercy or no mercy would affect your life.
She is my mother, but I've always kind of considered her to be my best friend. Growing up, it was Natalie, my mom. She just meant the world to me, and she would do the basic motherly duties, like pack my lunches, take me to school, take me to music lessons, to tennis practices, but we also did so much above that. she would read me bedtime stories when I was a young girl, and she kind of brought forth my love for books from that. She used to do anything for me. She watched hours of YouTube videos to learn how to do my hair a certain way so that I could have it for tennis practices. I've missed so many moments with my mother. I've missed getting ready with her for proms. I missed having her when I got my driver's license. I've missed her at birthdays and Christmases and Thanksgivings. I missed her at my high school graduation, and I missed her on the day I moved into college. I'm begging you to give her mercy so that I don't have to miss more. I want her at my birthdays in the future. I want her there when I get married, when I have kids, if I'm able. I want her there for all the major milestones in my life that I have left.
Does that include those statements? And I'm not telling you to go on. Do you want to say anything else? I'm going to have a couple follow-up questions, but is that
You can go ahead.
okay? You're 20 now, is that right?
19.
19, sorry. Your mother now is 44. You know that?
Yes, sir.
So even if she's granted mercy, she's going to be in jail for a minimum of 15 years. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
So you're going to be 34 years old after 15 years, and your mother's going to be 59 years old. Do you know that?
Yes, sir.
Do you think if your mother gets paroled or is eligible for parole in 15 years at the age of 59, maybe 60, she would still have life lessons to teach you?
Yes, I do.
This jury has already found that your mother killed your father. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
And you loved your father, correct?
Yes.
Do you have any malice or hatred or anything along those lines to your mother because of that?
No, I love her so much, and that just hasn't changed.
Okay, thank you.
Cross-examination.
I don't have any questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may step down, Ms. Cochran. Call your next witness, Mr. Selden.
Your Honor, at this point, we are no longer calling any more defense witnesses.
All right. This would be a good time for us to take our lunch break, members of the jury. It's a little bit before noon. We'll start back up at 1 o'clock, please. This will give you a little extra time to have your lunch. Please do not discuss the case among yourselves or with anyone else. Please do not access any reports about this case at all online, in the newspaper, or on the television. Enjoy your lunch, and I'll see you back at 1 o'clock. You may follow the bailiff.
Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Must have
All
been
right,
on
we'll break
lunch.
until 1 o'clock.
Oh, this lady, I
Her
remember her.
through
Oh,
the
this
youth
one of the
football
neighbors.
league.
Okay, is this the defense? Let's see. Please hit the light.
Bring in the jury.
Let's see if this is the defense calling folks now. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Just a reminder, we start a new case, a new trial on Monday. Make sure to tune in. You don't want to miss the very start. We start the trial starts Monday. We'll start doing our trial watch Monday. We'll start at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I might have to come a little bit earlier than that, like around 9, give it an hour to start. I got to see what time they're going to start. But it'll be scheduled. And yes, I will be on time. I heard that yesterday, Betty Boop, they had an expert on regarding this case, and he was a bodybuilding professional, whatever. And when they asked him the question about the insulin being used by the weightlifters now, he said, yeah, to build muscle or something like that. Yep.
Testimony and evidence presented by the state. Mr. Truman, please call your first witness.
Thank you, Your
Okay,
Honor.
so the
State called
state calling
Stephanie
witnesses.
Hamilton.
Okay. It's they say either it burns stuff or stores stuff or something.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole
Very
truth,
true,
and
Betty
nothing
Boop.
but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may have a seat.
You are Stephanie Hamilton,
I am Stephanie Hamilton.
and the jury is.
Sidebar, baby. This some people calling from the defense. I mean, from the state. So that means these people they calling these folks up to say, look here, she don't deserve no type of parole. Put her under the dirt, under the prison. Child, the drama.
He's already heard your testimony previously,
This her victims.
but we're now
of the
in
Ponzi
the
scheme.
penalty phase, and that involves the character of the defendant. Could you describe just briefly your relationship with the defendant?
I met her through the youth football league. Mike was one of our son's coaches, and I met her through that, and we became friends.
Were you pretty good friends?
I thought so.
You thought so. And did some things happen that led you to change your mind on that?
Yes.
Tell us what that was.
She lied to us. She manipulated us. My son.
I'm going to object this unless we have some specific testimony. We just.
All right, perhaps we should establish a foundation as to who, what, when, and where, Mr. Truman.
Yes, sir. Ms. Hamilton, you indicated that the defendant lied to you. Can you tell the jury some specifics as to that?
Well, our son was very sick, and he had just went through a really bad surgery. We thought we were facing cancer. He was 13 at the time, and we didn't know what we were going to be facing with him. And she used that situation to talk about the contracts working for her so I could stay at home more with my son. And, we gave money. There was always, promises of money, more money. And there was never money.
So you're talking about the investment with the defendant, and you were never paid back. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. the jury may recall that you are a physician's assistant, and you explained to them in general terms what that did.
Right.
Did the defendant utilize your position as a physician's assistant and take advantage of you on some occasions?
Yes, I mean, she had asked me for medication once. She used my position for her cover.
Explain
And
that. Sorry. When you say that, used your position as cover, what did you mean by that?
the day of Michael's sickness.
And how did she go about using
Remember,
you
she
as
called her
cover?
to come and take his temperature.
Telling everyone that she had me there as the provider.
I'm going to object. We need to approach the bench on this one.
All right.
So as you can tell, it's no love lost with this witness. Okay, so for some of us in the jury box, you know, which is fine. When we talk about the family and what they thought of her over her lifetime, and if you wasn't having too much sympathy, this is the part where they get to really horn in on, you know, her not being a great person, her being a liar, her being a manipulator, her being a scammer. And then I wonder if that guy, what was his name, Chris Davis, the neighbor who was crying, his best friend. Oh my God, I wonder if he's going to testify in this mercy hearing. So interesting. And I want to definitely finish this today, so it might go long, which will mean I've been pushed back tonight a little bit.
Thank you, Your Honor.
But we'll see.
You can go ahead and answer that question.
Telling investigators that I was there as the provider that checked Michael. She had a provider there, named me, used that for her cover.
Do you have some survivor's guilt or witness guilt in terms of Michael having died and you were present at the time or on the day that he fell?
What is it now? I'm
Do
sorry.
you have some survivor's guilt over that?
I think we all do, hindsight, but when you think about the events of the day and you go there and she tells a story, and I didn't know his history. I didn't know anything about what the situation was there. I was there briefly, and I advised her, what she should do, and made many efforts to make suggestions to go here, to go there, we'll go here. And she was not going to take that. But as a friend, you don't think that someone has done something to their husband.
That's all questions the state has. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
You said you lost some money in investing in Natalie Cochran's business, right?
Yes.
How much did you lose?
It's somewhere between $15,000-$17,000.
Never recovered that money, right?
Right.
All right, that's all. Thank you.
Anything further?
A follow-up to that. When did you make that
I
investment?
knew he would do the cross-examination.
And I think the first time was in January of 2019, mid-January.
And did you put the number you just gave defense counsel, was that all up front or did you
No,
take that up?
over time.
Was some of it after Michael died?
Yes.
That's all the questions the state had.
So in those increments, you lost what, $17,000?
Yes.
So when did you first learn that you were scammed?
After I started realizing there was multiple excuses as to why there wasn't anything coming back.
And you thought about all those increments of money that you paid Natalie or whoever, the company, right?
What is it?
And you thought about all those increments of money that you paid to the company, right?
I knew there was. I had never added it up until the end.
And that made you really mad.
No, actually, I was more hurt
Yeah.
of the lies than the
And
money.
and you were still mad and hurt, right?
No, I'm not mad
No,
and
you're not.
hurt.
All right, that's all.
Anything further, Mr. Truman?
Let's
That's
go to
fine for Mr.
Bulldog.
Allen. Thank
You
you.
may sit down, ma'am. Thank you. Call your next
knew he was doing
witness,
cross.
Mr. Truman.
Your Honor, the state calls John Hamilton to the stand.
Now this her husband. He the police. He was a friend. The husband to the lady who just left, and they called him the same day too to the house when Michael was laying up there sick and dying.
You'll raise your right
He a
hand. Do you
police
swear, do you
officer, but he
swear or
wasn't there in
affirm
that
to tell the
capacity.
truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You can have a seat right there.
All right, Ms. Anger.
Thank you, Your Honor. Can you please state your name for the record?
John David Hamilton.
And we've already heard you testify here previously in the case in chief. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you know the defendant, Natalie Cochran?
Through youth football.
And did you know her husband, Michael Cochran, as well?
Yes, Mike was a good friend of mine.
How do you feel about losing Mike?
I mean, losing Mike is bad on everybody. Donna, we lost a son, a father, a coach, and a friend.
And how has that affected you to lose him?
I mean, every day, you know, you think about it, at least I do. And you go to someone's house as a friend, they call you over to help them. Just like my wife said, you take your friends at face value. You don't ever think that your friends are going to try to kill their husband or anything like that. You just take them at face value because why would they? These are people you went to football games with, you've ate pizza with, you've hung out with.
So along that same line, how have the defendant's actions with regard to Michael affected your life? How have they made you feel?
I mean, it's every day it's something there, you know. I mean, just like today, Steph gets a message from somebody saying that, you know, oh, we can't believe that you guys just let Michael lay there and this and that. The story we got was Michael had a seizure. I went there to help Mike, get him off the floor, get him on the couch. I sit there, I told Natalie let's take him to the hospital. Natalie told me she wouldn't let him sleep it off.
Will the court give me a continuous
Yes,
session
indeed.
in this case as well?
Certainly. The exception is fully preserved. Continue, please, Ms. Anger.
So would you say that the defendant's actions and Michael's death have affected your daily life?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
And you and your wife are receiving some blame for that, right?
Yes.
How do you feel about the role that you played on February 6th of 2019?
As far as, and like what I wish I would have did or just what happened?
As far as how you became involved, what do you feel in hindsight, looking back on that day?
Well, I mean, you think about it almost every day and you really wish you could have did something different, but given the information you have at the time, you know, you feel horrible, especially for Donna, the kids, this and that. Like I said, they lost a father. You know, Donna lost a son. I lost a friend.
I think that's good for us. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, cross-examination, Mr. Victor.
Mr. Hamilton, did you lose any money to Michael and Natalie Cochran's business?
My wife made investments, sir, but yes, as a family, we did.
Okay. Now, how is your testimony today different from the testimony that you testified to at trial? How is it
As
different?
As far as what, sir?
Well, you're pretty much recalling the events of the day, right?
Yes, sir.
That's all. Thank you.
Anything further to say?
Just one question.
Go ahead.
During the case in chief and your cross-examination, were you ever actually given an opportunity to say how any of this made you feel?
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
You said something on direct concerning the children losing their father.
Yes.
They also lost the mother, right?
Yes, because she killed their father.
I didn't ask you why, sir. I asked you a simple question.
Yes.
You don't like Natalie Cochran, do you?
I don't like that she killed Mike.
Do you not like Natalie Cochran?
I wouldn't say I like her, dislike her, sir. As far as I'm concerned right now, sir, she's a criminal.
So the answer is no, I don't like her. Is it?
If you want to put it that way, sir.
Anything further? No, Your Honor. You may step down, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Baby.
Call your next witness, Mr. Truman.
Christopher Davis.
Oh, good. This is the best friend. And he told him, you know, he was like one of the few people that literally during the trial and testimony that really cried and showed a profound loss in his friend. If I'm not mistaken, he might be the only one that when he was testifying showed any type of emotion like that. He cried more than the kids even cried. It was real sad. I have his testimony actually posted under the videos as a highlighted testimony of this case.
Do you
Check it out if
swear
you
or
missed it.
affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may have a seat right there.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. You are Chris Davis,
Yes, sir.
and you had testified before this jury previously. Tell us your relationship with Michael Cochran.
Mike was one of my best friends.
I told y'all.
And, you know, we did a lot together and spent a lot of time together. And, you know, we not only personally, but we coached sports together and, you know, vacation together. And he was he is a dear friend.
You miss him?
I do.
They literally letting them cry for the jury to see it.
Mike was he was a very strong man. He's a good man. And he would want me to be strong now as well. And he was a good man, a very good man. He wasn't the best father, the best friend, or the best husband, but I'm not either. But he's not what you heard he was. He loved his family. He took care of his family. He loved his friends. He loved his community. He spent a lot of time in the community. He loved life. He wasn't sick. He wasn't ready to die. He was healthy. Even up until the day he died. He had plans. He had lots of plans. He was doing lots of things. Couldn't wait to the things he was doing. And that was also for his family.
Let me shift gears totally with you. You and a couple other fellas gave some money to the defendant in this case. Correct?
We did, yes.
What was the total amount you gave her?
It was $511,000.
And how much of that did you get back?
The exact amount we got back, I'm not sure. I think it was probably around 50 or 60. And the reason I don't know is because there at the end, she was trying to send wires, and some would come, some wouldn't come, and some would. So it's somewhere in that area.
Object and have the same continuing objection as in the other situation.
Go ahead, continue, please.
Go ahead, Chris.
And so the exact amount that we got back, I'm not for sure. I think it was probably, like I said, 50 or 60.
Did the three investors, did you give any money to the defendant after Mike died?
No, we did not. We were given the opportunity to reinvest. I mean, so we didn't give any additional money, but the idea to reinvest, I guess you could say we gave her that because we said, whatever, sure. I mean, it doesn't matter. During that time, there was so much stuff coming back and forth. We were trying to figure this out and trying to figure out one. And so, but there were reinvestment opportunities offered. And
who offered you the reinvestment opportunities?
Natalie.
And that was after Mike died?
Yes.
Is it fair to say you were a strong supporter of the defendant until you found out that things were not what you thought they would, what they appeared to be?
Yeah, I believe that's fair because we trusted her. As my wife testified as well, we trusted her.
Was that trust violated?
Yeah, because, we trusted her with the most precious thing to us, our family, our son, our kid, with respect, because as Jennifer said, she would ask her questions about diabetes and things like that. And so, yeah, that was absolutely violated, even on the day that the way she perpetrated it to Jennifer to even get insulin, and that lie that was perpetrated, and even throughout this trial, attempted to continue to lie about that. And
I'm going to object again. We're not retrying this case. I'm really sorry, but
I think I have to sustain that objection.
And the idea that she was never given, she never kept insulin for our son.
Do you have an opinion as to whether or not this jury should grant mercy to this defendant?
I think this jury has been here for 3 weeks. And this jury's heard everything they need to know. They don't need my opinion, don't need my thoughts, and you don't need me preaching at you. You know what you know. So with all due respect, I don't have opinion for these folks. I thank you. I know Mike would thank you.
That's all the questions the state has. Thank you.
All right, cross-examination, Mr. Victor.
Mr. Davis, I only have a couple of questions. When was the first time that you and your family met Natalie Cochran and Michael Cochran? Just give me a year if you.
I'm going to say 2011 or 2010.
Okay. So would you agree with me, sir, that throughout these years, you and your family and Natalie Cochran and her family became friends? You were neighbors and you were friends.
Absolutely.
And you did a lot of things together, right?
Absolutely.
That included Natalie Cochran, right?
Absolutely.
And dinners, maybe some holidays, almost daily. You were in some contact with Natalie and Mike, right? Maybe
Yes.
not daily, but
I mean, to get to your question that you're getting at, we knew these folks very well.
Okay.
Yes, and we're daily contact, whether it was me contacting Mike daily or my wife contacting Natalie
Right.
daily. Yes, there was friend interaction. a
Now,
lot.
would you agree with me, sir, that throughout those years, you had an opportunity to observe Natalie Cochran's good deeds? She was active in the community. She was involved in sports teams, supplying money for it. She was in Bible school. She was a pharmacist, helping people, giving lectures, et cetera, et cetera. Did you have that opportunity before you started realizing that something was awry?
Well, to answer your question directly, you started it out, I would agree with you. I don't agree with you.
Okay, all right.
So now let me further state, I witnessed a lot of deeds, good, bad. The reason that I can't say I agree with you because I can't sit here and say that I believe any of those deeds were done in good, bad, or irrelevant fashion because the truth of the matter is, was it a lie then as it is a lie now? Or was some of it true?
All right.
Or was some of it false? So we don't agree.
Okay. Mr. Davis, let me ask you
All
this.
right, baby,
Did you
have a
ever
good day. Thank
see
you.
Natalie being
Joining us.
involved in
Make
any
sure to tune in
volunteer
on
work?
Monday for Trial Watch. A new case
We
starts.
were all involved in
No, I mean,
volunteer
no,
work.
please answer my question. Have you ever seen her involved in any volunteer work?
We were all involved in volunteer work.
Your Honor, this is.
All right, please answer the question pertaining to Natalie, if you would, Mr. Davis.
Volunteer work requires you to do that because you're doing it for the benefit of others. And therefore, it's hard for me to answer, was it volunteer or not? That's a very subjective question. And although I don't answer it the way you want me to, I can tell you subjectively, was it volunteer? I don't know. But I do know there was activity. I don't know if it was volunteer or not.
Your Honor, I move to strike that answer as non-responsive. Did Natalie ever help people with her pharmaceutical skills?
Absolutely.
Okay. Did she ever, well, maybe you don't agree with me on this, but prior to the events of the federal case, she led a crime-free life, didn't she?
I have no idea if she was committing crimes throughout her life.
Okay. But you have no way of knowing whether she was convicted of any crimes prior to the federal conviction.
I'm unaware if she was ever convicted of any crimes.
Okay. Now, you were also friends, I presume you knew her children, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Especially her son.
And her parents, I presume also.
I did know them.
Okay. And yet you testified against her in federal court. At her sentencing.
Yes, because we were the victims of her Ponzi scheme.
Okay.
And therefore, they requested a victim statement.
Right. And then, were you also her attorney at some point?
I had represented the family on several different occasions.
But after Michael died, you were also with Natalie to obtain some loans as her lawyer, right?
I was not.
No? Okay. But then she filed an ethics complaint against you with the state disciplinary board, right?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Those are never pleasant.
It was not.
No. Okay.
Are you interested in the outcome?
No, I'm not asking about the
Because it was
outcome.
dismissed.
Of course it was. Then
Of
you
course it
answered
was.
something that I didn't ask, but that's fine.
You're welcome.
Now, and after all of this, after her perhaps good deeds, well, was she, let me ask you one more question. Was she a good mother to her children?
If I believe then what I believed,
No, from your observations.
I mean, if you're asking me as I sit here today in this chair, do I believe she's a good mother to her children? That's the
No,
question you're
Mr.
asking me, or you're asking me, do I
no.
believe she was a good mother
No,
to her children before?
Mr. Davis, I just asked you whether you observed her being a good mother to her children.
Define good mother.
Did she care for them? Did she provide them with food? Did she have a nice relationship with them? All of this that goes into the definition of a good mother.
I believe, under what I thought before, during those times, yes.
Okay.
But I don't believe that as I sit here and think now.
Because she was conniving financially, she somehow was feeding these children falsely, or what are you testifying to? Because she was doing something that was financially horrible. You're saying you're not sure that she was a good mother to these children from your observation?
I believe exposing your children to what has now occurred and what those folks there affirmed is not a good mother.
Okay. Okay. So well, I guess from your response to the prosecutor's question, I take it that you're not condemning her to life in prison and to never have a chance to become a person that you knew before the financial scheme, right?
I would not invade the jury's providence to make that decision. I wouldn't do it before, and I won't do it now.
Okay.
They
Well,
don't need me to give them that decision.
Well, thank you for your sincere answer. Thank you.
Redirect.
You were asked if the defendant performed philanthropic acts. Did you ever see Michael do that?
Absolutely.
Tell us about that.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to this line of questioning. Michael's character is not the issue here. It's the defendant's character.
Fair point. I'll withdraw.
All right.
I'll give you the opportunity to address the ethics complaint the defendant filed against you. How did that come to pass?
Because he was an attorney at one
Once
time
she
too.
was sentenced to federal prison, she filed the complaint. It was answered. The evidence was submitted to the state bar, and the state bar dismissed her complaint against me as not being found any evidence to support the same. And it was at that time that, as part of that evidence, the investigation included in that was that this investigation for this case was pending at that time. And there was questions as to whether or not what was really the intent behind it, whether to try to intimidate witnesses or not.
In any event, it didn't work, did it?
Baby, she was up to no
Did
good
not.
all the way around,
That's
huh?
all the questions the state has. Thank you.
Damn.
Anything further, Mr. Victor?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All
Thank you,
right,
Mr.
so
Davis, you may step down.
we're going to mosey on over to the mother-in-law. There should be, Lady Steph say, it's going to be some really impactful testimony here. And then we're going to end for the day. And we will come back tomorrow. I will most assuredly, I can promise you, I'll be here on time, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we will get the actual sentencing, okay? Let's close on his mom, Michael, the victim's mother.
Okay.
Right, she didn't like her outcome and she blamed him.
You'll
Girl,
raise your
bye.
right hand, please. stand. Do you
This
swear
the
or
mom,
affirm
Lady
to tell
Steph?
the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so
Oh, no,
help
I'm
you
holding
God?
my
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
You may have a seat right there.
Baby. This gotta be the mama, because she ready.
I object to this.
Baby, I can tell.
Your Honor, these are pictures of Michael Cochran while he was alive. If anything was inflammatory, it was the photos of his autopsy shown during the trial.
Has not been introduced any evidence. We have absolutely
He
no
objected
reason to
before
bring
she could
these
sit
exhibits
down.
to court. I moved to remove them.
These are demonstrative exhibits, Your Honor. They don't need to be moved into evidence.
No, they are only here to inflame the jury.
I
Nothing.
don't think I can permit these to be displayed. I'm fearful that the prejudicial value would outweigh any probative intent. They haven't been admitted.
She brought those two posters that's standing up there. Lady Self?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, child, she sure did. Well, they didn't already seen the pictures.
Of course, the jury can unsee what the jury saw, Your Honor, but I ask at least for an instruction to disregard these.
All right, members of the jury
He didn't play about us.
have disallowed these photographs, blown-up pictures to be considered, so you should disregard them, please. You may proceed now, Ms. Akers.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ma'am, can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Donna Bolt, Donna Bolt. I'm Michael Cochran's mother.
And in saying that, how do you know the defendant, Natalie Cochran?
Natalie Cochran was my daughter-in-law, and we loved her very much. She was married to Michael for almost 19 years.
Could you briefly just explain for the jury what sort of relationship you had with the defendant before Michael passed away?
When they got married, well, she knows this. Michael went off to WVU to go to college in 1999. She was supposed to went to Concord, but she changed her major and went to WVU. Michael Brandon and I went up to Morgantown several times to find him a place to live. I didn't want him to live on campus. So we found a mobile home for him to live in it's like an elderly care mobile home park. And Michael had a 1988 Jeep that he was driving back and forth. And so when he went to school up there, he was going up there to play baseball. But what had happened was that he changed his major a few times, and I guess finally at the end he decided he wanted to be an information technology major, and that was running, cable wire, computer wiring, and that he went to school for 4 years up there. Natalie, she followed him up there. She was supposed to be staying in the dorm, but next thing I knew, they were kind of cohabitating in the mobile home, and that wasn't supposed to happen. That was not the plan. So what had happened every time we went up to go see Michael, he would say, "Mom," he said, "you can't come up this weekend." He said, "Natalie's family's up here. They're going to ball games." So we didn't get to come up. And a lot of times when we did get to come up, Natalie would head back home to Daniels, to her family's home. So, we bought this trailer for Michael to go, to live in while he was in school. And let's see, in the fall of 1999, we paid for Michael's first year of school, fall and spring. And in November of 1999.
I'm sorry, but the witness is rambling right now. There is no rhyme or reason to this story, and all of this history of the familiar relationship is irrelevant.
Well, I think that she is setting forth a timeline, and I'll permit it for the purpose of this hearing. You can continue.
Thank you,
Ms.
sir.
Bolt.
In November of 1999, I received a phone call from Natalie. She was at the mobile home in Morgantown. And she said, "Guess what?" I said, "What?" She said, "Well, Michael and I got engaged." I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "Are you mad?" I said, "No, let me speak to Michael." And Michael got on the phone and I said, "Michael Brandon, what in the world are you doing? You're not even 19 years old yet." So that right there kind of caused friction between Natalie and me. I didn't like her. They were too young, and I wanted them to wait.
Later in life, did you have a more positive relationship with the defendant?
We did, but I'd like to explain a little bit about, when they got married. They got married in May of 2020. Now, what had happened before that May of 2020, Natalie Cochran
First of all, it is non-responsive answer. Second of all, I think we've laid enough background here. This is a sentencing phase. This is not a history of the Cochran family, Your Honor. I'm sorry, but I object to this.
All right, please move on.
I do have a statement that I would like to read. Okay.
Do you believe that this defendant deserves mercy in this matter?
I do not,
Can you tell the jury why you believe she doesn't deserve mercy?
because she didn't give Michael any mercy. She let him lay on the floor for hours and hours at the home. She let him lay on the couch, and she never got him any help. When he did go to Raleigh General Hospital, they put him on the ventilator and stuck it in his arms.
I'm going to object. We're trying the case, and this witness has no personal knowledge of this.
No, I'll permit it. Overruled. Go ahead.
And then from Raleigh General, she texts me at 10:30 that night, sends me pictures of Michael Brandon. Can I hold him up? Okay.
Is that the first time that you found out that Michael was sick?
Yes, 10:30 that night. It was on a Wednesday night, February 6th. She said, this is how I found him. Found him in the floor in the kitchen of their home. And then she sent me another picture, and he was on the ventilator at Raleigh General Hospital. And he had tubes all in him, and like I said, on the ventilator. She sent me another picture as the Jane Care ambulance is transporting him from one bed to their stretcher to take him on to CAMC. And then later on that night, she sent me another picture of Michael Brandon in the ICU at CAMC on the ventilator. Now, I want you to understand, Natalie Cochran, she texted me. She said, they won't let you come down. She said, they won't let you in at CAMC. She said, only me. She said, but I'll keep you updated. She would, throughout the night, I would text her. Couldn't go to sleep. I would text her, what's his vital signs? What's his blood work? She finally, the next morning, I was able to get up there. But on my way up there, she stopped me and texted me and told me, she said she needed a phone charger for her phone. And then she told me, she sent me to the wrong hospital. She sent me to, there's 2 CAMC. She sent me to the other one. And then finally, I was able to get there on time. When I walked in, Michael Brandon was on the ventilator, laying in his hospital bed. Natalie Cochran was there. I was with her all day long that day. And that evening, that afternoon, she sat over in the corner on her laptop and on her cell phone while I was at Michael's bed, at the head of his bed. She sent me government contracts to my cell phone. And then, she even made a comment that day. She said, I gave him a bath last night, and I pinched his balls as hard as I could, and he didn't even respond. And then I heard her say one more thing for that day. She said, I let him lay on the couch for 7 hours. And I screamed at her. I said, 7 hours? What do you mean you let him lay on the couch for 7 hours?
So what about the loss of your son caused by this defendant leads you to believe that she does not deserve mercy?
Well, she's going to say that we never had a relationship with Michael Brandon, but she's wrong. She's a liar. We'd all the time go down there. Michael Brandon would come up to the house, and we would do things together, even before he even got with her. Michael Brandon and I had a really good relationship. We had a close bond. When he married her, she started pulling him away. She wouldn't let us come around or anything. And then she would, like I said, you've heard family vacations with her side of the family. She wouldn't, she never involved us. She never wanted Michael or her to be around anybody on our side of the family.
Is there anything else that you think this jury needs to hear before they make their decision?
Yes, I do. On Saturday, he went to the hospital on February the 6th, which was a Wednesday. Okay, on Saturday, February the 9th, she had everybody around the room. And she said that, they're going to pull the ET tube or the ventilation tube. And they pulled the tube. She thought he was going to die right away. He did not die. He was breathing on his own. Later on that evening, it was myself, my husband, Eddie, and Michael's dad, Mike. And Natalie was there by Michael's bed. And I was at Michael's head. And the little young male nurse came in, and he started doing it's what's called a Glasgow coma scale to see if Michael will react. And see, I'm a retired nurse, so I know this. He would take a lab tube, and he pushed on Michael's finger.
I object to all that medical testing. I really do. This is nothing, has nothing to do with the sentencing, nothing to do with her feelings. This is the description to inflame the jury.
I'm going to permit it. This is not technical medical testimony. It's what this witness observed. You can continue, Ms. Bolt.
Thank you, sir. So the young male nurse, like I said, he was pushing on Michael's fingernail, and then he pushed on Michael's toenail, and Michael jerked his arm and his leg back. Then he went around to Michael's other side where I was standing, and he rubbed his finger, his fist into Michael's chest like a sternal rub. And Michael Brandon raised up out of the bed, and he opened up his eyes. Now, if you look over at Natalie Cochran, instead of being so happy, she looked horrified. Her mouth dropped over.
Any of this. The witness has no personal knowledge of any of this.
I absolutely do.
She was present, and these are her observations, and I think it's pertinent. The court will overrule the objection, and I'll give the defense a running objection and preserve all exceptions. You may continue, Ms. Bolt.
I was there. I saw it. And what Natalie did after that, we were so happy. We were just thanking God, because I kept telling Michael, I know you're in there. I know you're in there. And then he opened up his eyes. And what the male nurse did next is he walked around the bed and went over to Natalie, and he whispered in her ear, I have to chart this. And Natalie shook her head, yes. Later on that morning, we were so happy. We were going home thinking Michael was going to get another MRI, because that was what, if there was any changes, he was supposed to get another MRI of his brain. So we were so happy. And about mid-morning, Natalie texted me, and she had moved him to another room. She had moved him out of the ICU into just a regular, ordinary room. And we couldn't understand that. The next day, this was Sunday, the 10th of February of 2019. And we were on our way down there. Natalie told us not to come. She said she was going to take him to hospice house. And we couldn't understand that, because he should have had another MRI because he had a change in his status. So what had happened now was that we waited all day, and Natalie kept saying, the ambulance is coming, the ambulance is coming. And what happened then was Natalie, about 8 o'clock that evening, we waited all day for Natalie to get Michael to hospice house. And 8 o'clock that evening, the preacher, Sam Green from Bible Baptist Church, called us and said that Michael had arrived at the hospice house to come now. It won't be long. So we rushed to the hospice house to see Michael Brandon. Michael Brandon's, his breathing status had changed. They had given him something at CAMC before he traveled there.
Hang on a second. May I approach the witness?
Certainly.
My what? It's 8 pages. Can I read some of it? Well, I told a lot of it.
Let me ask you what that is, Ms. Bolt. Is that your victim's impact
It
statement?
sure is, sir.
Okay. Is there some way you can summarize that? I heard you say it was 8 pages.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a lot to say.
That's all right. I don't mean to cut you off at all, but in the interest of time and efficiency, is there some way you could perhaps focus upon the aspect of the defendant's character?
Yes, sir. When she put Michael Brandon in hospice house and we went in to see him, he had already turned ashen gray. The nurse was coming in every 15 minutes, giving him medicine, one medicine after the other. We were crying. Natalie was over there. It'll be okay. He died at 12:18 a.m. on Monday morning, February the 11th. 2 days later, Natalie had a funeral for Michael Brandon. We would ask if we could have this person or that person to come. She would tell us no. So on the day of the funeral, the only ones that were allowed to come was myself and my husband Eddie and Michael's dad from Michael Brandon. That's all she would allow to come.
Ms. Bold, I know that you have a statement that you've written, and as the judge said, we know that it's rather long.
Yes.
Could you just summarize that for us, especially with regard to the defendant's character and why you think she doesn't deserve mercy?
Yeah. After Michael died, we tried, we had suspicions, and we tried not to, do anything because we wanted a relationship with our grandkids. In June of 2019, Nicole, she wouldn't respond to me anymore. And MAC, in August of 2019, he sent me a text, and he said, don't bother me anymore.
Grandson.
I'm going to block you. You don't love us anymore. We know that now. So we haven't had any relationship with Michael's kids since June and August of 2019. After Michael died, after Michael was murdered, Natalie Cochran, like I said, sent me contracts while I was standing at Michael's bedside in February. In February the 22nd and the 24th and 28th, she sent me text messages. She said they are state contracts. She said they have affidavits. This was a total of 3 contracts for an amount of $28,000. She said because they have affidavits, she said they will pay you. I guarantee.
Your Honor, I hate to object, and I know that I have a continuing objection, but this is not a summary of what the court asked the witness to do. This is a continuing history of day by day of what has happened. I object to it strenuously.
All right. Perhaps, Ms. Bolt, you can kind of relate things and focus upon character issues. And you can take a minute to review your statement. I see that it's typewritten and it's pretty lengthy. So perhaps you can just pick out some portions that relate directly to the defendant's character.
Okay. Can I go now?
Yes, ma'am.
Since Michael's murder, Natalie Cochran's evil and sinister deeds have caused overwhelming damage and wrought on our lives and so many good and decent lives, lives that will forever cast a shadow of sadness. Michael Brandon was my only son, and I loved him and so adored him. I struggle every day. I struggle every day to make sense of what has no answers. The murder of my son is crushing, and yet I must try and move forward to honor his memory. Today, as we approach 6 years since Michael's murder, February 11th, 2019, we as a family have had to endure the glacial process of prosecuting Natalie Page Cochran for murdering our Michael Brandon while we also mourn his death. To this day, this vile being has showed no remorse, none whatsoever. Natalie Cochran and her family have never said they were sorry. We have no choice but to watch in the courtroom with repulsion as she smiles and banters with her family and friends, just like she doesn't have a care in the world. I was shocked to hear the testimony that Natalie's parents only lost $76,000 and her sister Penny only lost about $50,000. She stole $250,000 from us. And she stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from her other victims as well. We, along with our family and friends, have sat quietly and graciously and painfully watched and listened as Michael's good name has been murdered time and time again by those who publicly defend this murderer. Think of the horrific invasion of Michael's and our dignity and privacy. At what point and at what time do we seek sleeping at night? Is Michael Brandon resting in peace? I don't think so. We, as Michael Brandon's mom and stepdad, we respectfully ask this court in the memory of our beloved and precious son, Michael Brandon Cochran, to delay for as long as judicially allowed the day that this cold-blooded murderer once again walks among us. In a pure world, light should never shine on that day. Evil, for reasons only evil knows, took it upon herself to steal from us and the world. We take comfort as best we can in believing our Michael, our beautiful, intelligent, kind-hearted Michael, is waiting for us in God's heavenly mansion in the air. We ask this court that Natalie Cochran be sentenced to life in the state prison for the rest of her natural life, with no pardon, no mercy, and no deals. This evil, narcissistic sociopath intentionally and knowingly pre-planned and committed first-degree premeditated murder, stealing the life of our son, Michael Brandon Cochran, at the young age of 38. To the court, Natalie Cochran will speak at her sentencing today because she has to have the last word. The simple truth is that while growing up, and even as an adult, this spoiled, evil, narcissistic murderer had seldom, if ever, been denied this which she wanted. The word no was not spoken or heard of in her world. She will try to blame my precious son Michael for her evilness and deceit. Natalie may even shed a tear or two, but we have now come to know that every word coming out of Natalie Cochran's mouth will just be another lie, and her tears will be fake tears trying to get sympathy from your court. Natalie is going to use Michael's children to get sympathy here today. She tried to do that with their testimonies during the trial. Judge, please don't fall for her con. That's what Natalie does. She only cares about herself. She will use, abuse, and manipulate anyone to get in her way. But we know the real Natalie Cochran, the thief, the liar, the taker of life, and the doer of evil deeds. I was told that Natalie Cochran was telling the community that we didn't raise Michael Brandon, that he was raised by his grandparents. That's just another lie. Michael Brandon even told Natalie in his presence and in my presence at a funeral, "Don't you ever put me in hospice." Michael had seen his grandfather, as his adopted grandfather whom he loved, H.B. Lewis, suffer that way. But what did she do? She went against his wishes and put him in hospice. This has been a very long and traumatic process for us, with all of the court delays and continuances. We have never given up, and we have been Michael Brandon's advocate and his voice. We have been waiting almost 6 years for justice for Michael. Throughout these 6 years, we have had to just sit back and be silent while Natalie gives newspaper and media interviews about my precious son, Michael, and her statements about what happened on February 6, 2019, and the incidences leading up to his death. The media will not try this case. All of the evidence and the proven facts and her conviction are enough to sentence Natalie Cochran to life in prison with no mercy. We've kept quiet as Natalie continues to blame Michael for her evilness that did not stop even after his death. While my son lay on the hospital on the ventilator, Natalie Cochran texted me government contracts on my phone. Believing and trusting her because she was our beloved daughter-in-law and because we loved her, Natalie manipulated us once again. Michael is not here to defend himself, but we are here. We are standing up for him and speaking for Michael and ourselves and asking the court for justice. We ask that you please, please, no mercy. She never gave Michael any mercy.
Thank you very much. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Excellent.
All right, cross-examination.
I just have one or two questions. Ms. Bolt, you testified that you were not allowed in the ICU.
She told me that I could not come.
Okay. Did you know that there was only one person allowed in the ICU?
I could have come and stayed in the
Ma'am,
waiting room.
I didn't ask you that. I just asked you whether you knew that there was only one person allowed in the ICU.
I don't believe that, sir.
No, that's not my question. What you believe, ma'am. My question is whether you knew that there was only one person allowed in the ICU.
It always comes from Natalie. No,
Ma'am.
you can't come.
Ma'am, did you know that there was only one person allowed at the ICU?
That's not true, Mr.
Your Honor,
That's not true, sir.
I asked a
All
simple
right,
question.
Wait till he asks the question. Pose the question again, please, Mr.
Did you
Victor.
know that there was only one person allowed in the ICU? Yes or no, ma'am?
No,
Okay. Now, did you know that your son had a living will to go to the hospice and be taken off life support? Did you know that or not?
I know he said he never wanted to go to
Ma'am,
hospice.
did you know that? Or
Did he
no?
tell you that, Natalie?
Your Honor, I'm sorry. The witness is addressing my client. I object to this, and I would like an answer.
All right, pose the question again and then try to answer the question, please, Ms.
Yes, sir.
Ball.
Ma'am,
Ask-
did you know that Michael had a living will to go to hospice and be taken off life support if need be?
No,
No, okay. Now, you testified that you haven't seen your grandchildren, right? For what, 5 years?
they wouldn't have anything to do with us.
I didn't ask you that, ma'am. I just asked you whether you testified that you haven't seen your children since 2019.
The grandchildren,
Grandchildren, I'm sorry. Grandchildren since 2019, right?
June and August of 2019.
Okay,
They stopped responding.
okay. What kind of contact did you try to have with them?
Tried to text them and they blocked us.
Okay, how frequently did you text them, ma'am?
When you get blocked, sir, you don't go around them. They don't want to have anything to do with it.
Prior to being blocked, ma'am.
Prior to being blocked, we had a lot of relationships with them.
Okay,
After Michael died, we were trying to keep a good relationship with them.
and so you're telling us that all of a sudden, these two children, who in 2019 were relatively young, all of a sudden stopped communicating with you by blocking you?
Yes,
All right. And you attribute it to Natalie Cochran,
yes,
who prohibited them from having any contact with you?
yes, what they've been told.
Okay, what they've been told. You have absolutely no clue what she told them, do you?
You don't either.
Ma'am, Your Honor,
Just please, Ms. Bolt. just
Yes, sir,
answer
I'm
the
sorry.
question.
Yes, sir.
you have no clue what she told them, do you? Do you?
I can pretty much
Ma'am.
guess.
You don't know,
I'm not going to answer that yes or no, sir.
Your Honor.
Please answer it yes or no. It's a relatively simple question.
Okay.
Ms. Bolt.
So you asked me. Ask it again, sir.
Whether you, Your Honor, I'll withdraw this question.
All right.
That's all I want.
Anything further, Ms. Akers?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Bolt.
Thank you,
may
sir.
sit down. Call your next witness, please, Mr. Truman.
The last witness the state will call is Robert Heinzman.
Let me see. All right. So we're going to stop right there because I'm looking at it right now. They're still live. Well, let me see. Yeah, they still don't have it. The jury is out deliberating on the sentence. So we will pick up in the morning. We will reconvene in the morning for daytime trial watch with Demetra. I want to thank you guys for coming through and supporting this content and serving your civic duties. At this moment in time, court is dismissed. We shall reconvene tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for the best of the burn pile trial. Tonight, Amanda, the final child, adult child, the youngest daughter, will be testifying. Okay? I will see you guys then. Have a good break.
Thanks for watching. Do not forget click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Like, comment and share. See you next time.